Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.
Always a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me. I feel bad about it. I feel bad that in the renewed hope agenda that we are supposed to be engendering, this is happening this early. And it's not happening for the first time. And as an oil and gas person, I know how capital flights, has moved not just to Angola, to overrun Nigeria as the #1 oil-producing country in Africa some years back. Also moved to Equatorial Guinea. And the issue simply is governance. Governance to ensuring that we plan well not to fail, and we plan well not to succeed, and we plan well to allow so many, undercuts under the table. I think the greatest of them all, in my view, is placing the right square in the right the right person in the right place is what I'm trying to put across. Square peg in square holes. We haven't really done that. And I think the oil and gas sector of the Nigerian economy has not shown any change, any drastic change from 1999 effectively. Before then, of course, we were working in fits and starts. What if you took 1999 as a benchmark year to see how we have fared up till about now? It's still corruption, it's still situations that places the President of the Federal Republic as a Minister of Petroleum Resources. Again, why? Because the state's oil company is still not being run as you run a Petrobras, of Brazil. So this happening was predicted, I dare say, some years back, close to about 15 years back. We had made that prediction, and Nigeria had been warned that the way things are going, is it the gas flaring, is it the forward contracts that we did a bit of topsy-turvy, is it the upstream, is it the midstream, is it the downstream? We're just not in proper shape. Also, very, very importantly, we must talk about the militancy and the attempt by the powers to be that naturally you need to move your headquarters to the oil-producing areas. And the oil-producing areas are saying that is exactly how it should be run. We want to be in charge of all those affairs. But on the back of that also is the militancy that came up and ended up in amnesty. Is it working? Is it not working? During Buhari's time, non-state actors came into the security architecture, Tantina, and Tom Polo came into the picture. So I am not too surprised that the present administration started the policy of looking at the industry, especially the downstream. We have had some assaults. We've had reversals. We had people appointed into commissions and almost invariably reversed. So in between, the center is not administratively working well to be able to give investors the right direction. And what they see is flip-flop. And then they are now asking themselves the question, how are we sure that things will not just suddenly reverse if they decide they are going to bring their investments? Monetary, physical, security, just name it. It's going to be very difficult for anybody, any reasonable person, to look at the other person straight in the eye and say we don't have issues and problems. There's hunger, there's poverty, you've just spoken about inflation, there is peonage in the land. Absolutely no doubts about that. But you see, I always say that you don't have tomorrow without today, and today does not exist without yesterday. We had a fractious economy virtually on its knees. And so different people will have to come with a different mantle to resolve the problem. And so if this patient is going to die, can the patient die smiling? Can the patient die cursing? We have seen situations where virtually the patient is losing blood and is cursing, is cursing. And one of the few things that I think that's happened is that the present administration came with relatively political strength to want to correct, but not properly thought out in the way it was going to be implemented. So it came out like a medical doctor that needed to see an emergency patient and was wearing my type of cap, wearing chain all over, smiling, rotund cheeks, taking a cup of tea here, riding in a vehicle, and the patient is saying, "I am dying." He said, "No, just hang on, I'm waiting." I'm making a point. We haven't seen exemplary leadership. Some other persons will have come to that space, inherit the same problem. We still will be crying that things are not well structured and thought out. But people will still say, wait a minute, if I look at the character of this particular person, it's leading by some kind of example. People will still say, let's improvise. Specifically, when Peter Obi and Atiku Abubakar are the throes of getting set for this immediate government that came in, and they will start seeing Emefiele dancing left, right, and center, and was going to start to print currency, was going to start to do things. They came out and said they understood. What is it that they understood? They knew we were doing ways and means. They knew that the economy was going down, but they felt from the political angle, they are going to be in a better position than somebody who just comes in with a lot of barbariga and is not showing the kind of example. So do a budget. We are talking about priorities that are not in place. National Assembly buying cars and asking us to tighten our seatbelt. You also mentioned it. At the end of the day, now introduce retinue of taxes, including tariff hike, at a time when we've not been able to resolve the issues surrounding the deregulation or no deregulation. So, again, people will not look at you with a lot of smiles. But there are bold reforms that we must make. We can't continue borrowing. But what are we borrowing for? So a lot of mismatch has come into the space. And until and unless character and competence comes into capacity to be able to put a lot of consciousness, we'll still be in the wilderness. I think the low-hanging fruits, I want to begin to see character in governance. I want to begin to see a situation where, one, Mr. President says, I am in charge. My son, my wife, your unconstitutional rules have no place in my governance. Secondly, I will also then go back and review and say, I have to bake the cake before we begin to share it. And by so doing, do I need all these ministers? Are they pulling their weight? Are they pulling their weight? Maybe they are pulling their weight. Maybe the job that a particular minister is doing and another minister is doing can be done by just one minister. Can we put all those together and then begin to focus on the main thing? Third thing that I am going to do will be to now cut my coat according to my cloth. When I say certain things will not happen, when I say cost of governance is too high, I will start by myself, making sure that I cut cost of governance around me with my ministers, and we'll be able to now look at the subnational governments straight in the eyes and say, you've got to do the same. Thirdly, go to the National Assembly. Maybe this is the high point. I think in the second year of Mr. President, Nigeria is not working. Nigeria is not been structured to work. We have to reorganize Nigeria. We have to clearly, boldly, and truthfully say to ourselves that the constitution that we are operating is not fit for purpose. We must resolve the leadership question. Mr. President, like it or dislike it, do an election 2, 3, 4 times in this country today with your best of intentions. We are not capable of resolving the leadership question. Whoever wins, fair and square, or in other way, the other nationalities will not want to agree to it. Around be my fifth point, again, a political solution to the problem that we are confronted with, dire problem that we are confronted with in the Southeast. Yes, I know the Southwest too. There are agitations all over. I think the IPOB issue needs to be resolved and resolved politically. I know pleas have been made about Nnamdi Kanu. I know that my position might not be very popular with quite a number of sections, but sometimes to stoop to conquer, I think we need to be able to calm things down such that that takes care of itself. And then we look at the Southeast a bit much more critically in terms of fairness, equity, and rule of law. If that happens in there, I think Mr. President will have made a very bold statement to be able to carry people along. I know he's made attempts to get an all-inclusive government. Yes, I mean, he's been given a cold shoulder. That notwithstanding, he should continue and continually make sure that he stretches his olive hands for all sections to come, sit together, discuss Nigeria without any rancor, go back to the confab reports, maybe an easy task, and begin to see how we are going to try and implement it. Restructure Nigeria, or Nigeria is going to restructure out of existence.
Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.